Here we are, Saturday morning live. Just going to set the camera, make sure we're right, and we're going to get the screen on so we can actually see who's actually calling us. So just bear with me 1 second, and we'll be able to read what people are saying. Give you time to get adjusted, get yourself settled. No, let's have a look now. There we are. Let's just get the live screen on now, and we'll be able to see who's joining us. If there's anybody joining us, that is. There we go. We are going to get this set up at some point. Two watching. Let's have a little look here now. We're going to mute. Can you hear me now? Yeah, we're going to just see now. 1 second. I'm trying to set this up here now. There we go. Good morning, Steve. Stick of Lives joined us as usual. Always consistent, on the ball. Welcome to Saturday Morning Live. I can see some of the comments from here now, and I'm going to just move a little bit closer. Look at that. The silver fox. Do I look good? Am I centralised? Am I within screen? Can you hear me? Lots of questions, but we need to get this right. And bit of a trial and error last week, sitting on the stool. I was in my work clothes. We was on the stool last week. We was on that toolbox. But now we're geared up. We've even got some plants in the background, and we've got the sign up. Is it looking good? I'm asking my assistant. Are we on form? Is it centralised? Can you hear me? That's what I want to know. Can you hear me? Maybe you want to turn your volume up and have a little listen just to see if the audio's good, and we can go ahead with it. Yesterday after lighting, I'm going to read what Steve said. I'm going to move forward a little bit there. Yeah, so there we are. So this is it. So look, it doesn't matter how many's joined us, because a lot of people watch this after the algorithms are telling us that we are getting the views on these live podcasts. So over the moon with that. People are listening to it, because the reason they're listening to it, they're not just listening to me, they're reading the comments and they're listening to what people are saying. So here we are, we're in the studio. It's getting better week by week. I believe that the lighting is looking good, okay? If you look at the lighting on there, it's nice and clear. I'm looking smart, I'm looking sharp, I've had a shave, I've done my hair, and I'm smelling good. Can you hear me okay on the live stream? Let's have a little listen. I'm going to just turn it up on here. Can you turn your volume up and have a little listen on there? Yeah, let's have a look. I'll have a go from this end, because just see if I can hear me now. I want to make sure that the volume is right before we go ahead, because there's no point doing it if you can't hear me, is there really? We have got a...
Yes.
Ah, right, okay, so on here. There we go. Can you hear me now? Yeah. I just don't know if you can hear me loud and clear on there.
Yeah, it's fine.
Well, we'll just go with that then. There we are. So important to actually get this right. I think that the speaker is playing.
Can they hear you?
Yeah. Unless you can turn the volume up on there. If you just turn it up. Look, we'll get going with this. So I just want to check that you can hear me, and the audio, like I said, is right, because if not, we've got a caller calling in this morning at 10:45, so we'll be telling you a little bit more about him, giving something away there, straight from the word go. But we're here, and it's all going to happen. So this week has been an absolutely traumatic week for myself. And this has nothing to do with the title of the video. The title of the video is, do you value your clients? Well, I value my clients on a regular basis, and I've proved it this week. So I've been laying some porcelain back to the good old porcelain again. And as a result of it, we've had, by laying this porcelain on one project, before I've even grouted, I haven't got that porcelain haze on all over. And as a result of it, what's actually happened is there's a haze of not a cementitious residue on there, but something from the adhesive. I think possibly it's the speaker on there that's playing that.
No, they said it's fine.
Oh, it's there, so it's all good, so it's all fine. So I've laid some paving, I've used an adhesive, and for some reason, all on the top, it's like a watermark all over the paving, and I have tried absolutely everything to get it off. I mean, literally, I've tried 7 different products to try and identify what I've actually got on there. I've even phoned the manufacturers, and what we are working it down to now, there's possibly an epoxy in there, which is like a resin-based product, and it's caused like a watermark all over the paving. Now, our client in this case is a contractor, and he knows his stuff in respects of plastering. He doesn't necessarily know about haze and all that sort of stuff. But as a result of this problem I've had, I've tried all sorts of products to try and identify what it is, what's in the product, because manufacturers are producing products, and as a result, we don't know how to deal with the problems when it happens. And it's only when the problems and the issues occur that we have to deal with it. So I'll tell you now, very briefly, I went through 7 different products. I tried everything. But at one point, we tried a little bit of fairy and water, and it had some impact, okay? And I was able to speak to Graham at Floor Seal, and Graham told me, he said, John, if there is a little bit of movement in the residue, moving a little bit, and it looks a little bit better as a result of the fairy, he said, carry on with that. But what I also done, yesterday, I went back there again, having used many different products, and I tipped hot water, boiling water, with a fairy liquid, and it's removed it on one tile completely, right next to the other one. I let it dry. I've been back this morning. Not necessarily I was worried about it, because there's always a solution to a problem. I went back this morning and it gone, okay? Vastly improved, massive difference to the tile next to it. So my advice is that when you have a problem like this, the first thing to do is not to panic. Contact the company and find out what could be potentially the problems that have been occurred as a result of the products that you're using. And they can quickly ascertain, because they've had experience with it, they may have had a problem before, but don't do nothing. Don't use products that you don't need to use, like I have done on many occasions. And I think that comes out of panic. Just want to check the time now, because we have got a caller calling it at 10:45. Do you know the time at the moment? What the time is? It's 10:41. We've got 4 minutes. We've got a caller coming in this morning, and it's about valuing clients, and I want to bring this to your attention. So anyway, getting back to the porcelain, it was clean. Just want to welcome everybody this morning. Alison's on it for me this morning, because I'm a little bit away from the screen. Kuram Chowdhury the other week suggested that I have one of those screens that drop down and I can actually read, and that's what's going to happen. It is come together. Look how clean and smart this studio is looking now. We've got the whiteboard over there, we've got the tool shelf over there, and we've actually got a fridge in here so we can have a cold drink when required, some refreshments, and it's not necessarily always has to be alcohol. Can we have a little look at the fridge on the wall? We've put it on the wall there. Just have a look at the fridge there. It's not stocked up. I think there's 1 can of lemonade in there at the moment. Did we see that then? Look at that, absolutely fantastic. We've got a great camera girl on the go this morning. She's not going to say, she ain't going to say much, but she is absolutely spot on. She's a bit like, what's the lady out of Bond, Moneypenny. Well, look at me, I am the Bond of the landscaping world. There's no doubt about that. So it was a bit of a panic this week, and I'll be totally honest with you. We've got 2 projects on at the moment, and our customer, I can give her first name, Denise, and I actually explained to her what was going on the previous project, okay? What was actually going on and what had happened, and she was more than happy, because she knows that I'm very meticulous about cleaning as I'm going. I use those wash boys, I use those sponges, I change the water. The first thing I do when I get to a project, I probably fill up about 4 or 5, maybe a half a dozen bucketfuls of water with sponges in. It's always good to have on hand. And I remember Kev Fowler of Pavestone many years ago saying to me when I went to meet him, he actually said to me, he said, John, do you know, he said, when I watch your videos, this is when he worked for Brett Paving, and he said to me, he said, I always remember, he said, watching your video, he said, you probably use the best tool that anybody could use in this type of work, and that was a bucket of water and a sponge. I think It's so important just to have on hand and it's ready. Just to keep that dust down and keep things clean as you're working. And Denise, who we're working for at the moment, she knows that I've been cleaning the paving regularly. But I think what people got to try and understand, as contractors, we need to preempt and explain to our customers about potential problems. Porcelain is not maintenance free, okay? Nobody said it's not going to stay. You will get rust marks on there if you have rust metal tables or legs on the base of your porcelain. You will have an iron deposit, and that's not good at all. You can get it off, but it is difficult to remove. The other thing, of course, is that when you're slurrying the backs of porcelain products, you can get slurry on the front, but generally it does come off. It's the back that it tends to stick to, okay? 10:45, we've got a caller coming in. Let's get to that caller. Hello.
Good morning, John.
Good morning. And who have we got calling this morning?
We are indeed.
Have we got Mr. David Honeywell of Ruby, MD?
How you doing, everyone?
Yeah, good to see you, Dave. Just to explain the situation, we're in the studio. It's a bit of ad hoc, sort of as we go along on here, but people can actually hear you. We've got a lot of people actually joined at the moment. Can you just tell our audience who you are and what you do?
Well, I'm David Honeywell. I'm the Managing Director of Ruby. As you know, we supply tiling and landscaping equipment for the end user. It's all about making precision cuts and finishes that you can be proud of, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave, I just want to explain to you, and I really appreciate you for gracing us with your presence here today. But for me as a contractor, one thing that we struggle with is that there is no connection with the hierarchy in companies in many different products. And when people like yourself are there and are able to present yourself and be available and have access to in some form, and for you to come on here this morning, it actually means a lot to me and to contractors, because this is not what we're getting. We feel that sometimes when we go to suppliers and manufacturers, as soon as we buy our product, we're left at it. No more contact, nothing at all.
Well, at Ruby, we're quite proud of the fact that we've got national coverage in the UK and Ireland. And also the fact is that I like to go and visit end users. You know, I like to see what the beautiful work that people like yourself are doing, John. The picture framing, the ball nosing. You know, it's how can we learn more about what we do as a supplier unless we interact with the end user?
Yeah, absolutely, and I totally agree with you. You know, and I think that you what I would say, you guys are a very progressive company that want to do their best.
Yeah, it's for us. It's not just about supplying a product. It's giving a complete service. You know, we know the bell's not perfect, and sometimes machines go wrong or things like that. So it's really important that we try and help the landscaper out. It's what we're about.
And I know personally with you, you are on this on a regular basis in the respect that you're keeping your eye on the game at all time and making sure that your technicians, your service engineers, your reps on the road are in full contact with the end user.
Very much so. Very much so. You know, we also, apart from obviously doing things like questions and warranties and things like that, you know, we actually have something called a Hub Creators, where we send landscapes to Spain to talk to designers to make sure that we're developing products that help the end user. It's not just about precision, it's about reducing dust and, you know, in the day, you know, things like silicosis.
Yeah.
That's saving lives.
Yeah, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. And if you don't have the contact that you have with the end user, you're not going to learn about what contractors need, are you?
No. And you know, it's although being completely honest, landscaping is something more relatively new to Ruby. Ruby's been going since 1951, and obviously landscaping with the ingrowth of 20mm porcelain is relatively new. So we're learning as well. You know, we've got some great products, but we're learning all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, but Dave, I just want to go back to that customer service care thing that you guys have, this mantra, this ethos, this approach to caring for your customer, is it something that you personally massively value, or is this something that at Ruby that they want to do? Is it, is it from you or is it from Ruby? Because without a doubt, what I'm seeing at the moment is that there is a really sort of need and a feel to want to connect and understand the end users. Is that personally come from you? Have you carried this forward from your previous company? What is it?
Well, it's the right way to do things, really, John. It's certainly it's something we've done previously. I've only been Ruby a couple of years, but making sure service, because at the end of the day, if a machine goes wrong, you're losing money.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And you've got all our landscapers have got the customers, and we don't want Mrs. Jones complaining that there's a delay in her property patio.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the guys that I know in the landscaping world, because how long have you actually been at Ruby now? What's the period now, Dave?
It'll be 2 years in July.
And are you enjoying it there?
I love it. Love it every day, John. I work really hard, and I absolutely love it. I love the people I work with, I love the industry, and I love the product. I'm a lucky man.
So, being a happy soul in the workplace that you are, you just want to do more for your customer base. And your customer base is not necessarily the people that sell the product to us end users. It's actually our end users. We are your customer and your client base.
Very, very, very much so. We do interact on social media and our pages like Gripdom, and we'd always like to do a little bit more. We're not perfect. I'll be the first to admit that. But yeah, it's interacting with the end user, knowing more about them, and then also knowing about us, so they can trust us, know that the service that we give is great, the products we do is great, and you can trust us that we're not going to let you down.
Yeah, you've picked up on a word there that we have to do is our client base has to have to trust us as individuals, don't they? They have to trust us, and because we are the professionals, aren't we?
Yeah, I didn't quite catch all that then, John. Sorry.
Yeah, I was saying you picked up on a word there. I'm picking up on a word that you said, and the word is trust. Trust is so important when we think of. I like to think that my customers and people that know me out there, when I post on social media, that they know that they can trust me. And obviously, wouldn't it be great when anyone think of Ruby, they think of that word, the word that comes to mind, I can trust that company. How important is that, Dave?
Oh, it's so important, John. Ruby's got family values, and you can like to think you can trust your family, and that's how important it is to us.
Yeah, and like you this is why I want you on here, Dave. You picked on that word family because we are all in this together. We're all trying to earn a living at what we do, and you want to give us guys the best service. We want to give our customers the best service, and communication is key when it comes down to that.
Yeah, very much so. When we find new things out, we wanted to tell you, that it's like an example is, if you're doing an L-shaped cut, about drilling the hole first to release the tension of the hole. That's the type of information that we want to pass on.
Dave, I've got to admit, I'm the first here. I think I know it all. And I've been doing these cuts, and I think I'm so clever about what I'm doing, And then I've been watching Nathan for a while, who's the local rep to my area, and doing those core cuts. I've been to meetups and what have you, and I didn't value it. Not that I didn't value it, but I didn't appreciate the importance of doing that little core cut in that small. What do we call them, Dave? What's the official word? What's the name for
it? Well, we use I would suggest using a premium drive wedge drill bit, because it's diamond tips, and it needs to work with an angle grinder.
Yeah. And you have to oscillate it.
Just in the corner of the tile, just taking the tension out of the tile.
Yeah, but Dave, why? I watched these videos, I've seen Nathan do it, and I didn't do it. But now I'll be doing this all the time. And what it's done for me, Dave, it's made me feel 100% better. I feel so confident knowing that when I go down and I cut that corner out with that little cutter, right? I know that it's not going to crack, because do you know how disheartening it is when you cut a slab and it breaks, and then you have to cut another one and that one breaks. It starts to become expensive, doesn't it? So it's important to use the right tools for the projects, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's an expensive product. The other thing to consider is that sometimes the tension crack will happen a month, 2 months, 3 months down the line, and you're going to have an unhappy customer with the tile laid down already. So by doing it simply the right way at the beginning, you're saving yourself some aggravation at the end.
Oh yeah, massively. So when we look at tools, let me tell you a little story. I went into, doesn't matter who it was, I went into a premises yesterday, and I walked in and I said, "Oh, you do Ruby?" And the young lady said, "Yeah, we do Ruby tools." And I said to her, and you'll be able to watch this after, Dave, right? I said, "That SPT is absolutely amazing." And she said, "It's expensive." And I said, "Yeah, but there's a reason it comes with a cost. It's because it does the job." I said, "That SPT blade, I've been on a project, right? And I think, Dave, I lost count now, but I'm over 320, 350 linear meters of cuts. Now, when you watch this video later, David, is that I've actually framed, now I'm going to show you, I've put in a picture frame, the SPT blade. And for me, that is a symbol of, reassurance, knowing that when I use any Ruby tools, it does the job. Now, I want to point out, I'm not getting paid to say this, but this little SPT blade, this old blade, if I was to put this in, it was still cut, but it's in a picture frame now, almost iconic, like that Toyota car on Top Gear. You remember the Toyota, Dave, that they chucked in the seat? Yeah. And it went through the rigmarole. This little blade has been absolutely amazing. So thank you very much for those tools. But you're actually producing even more tools on a regular basis. You're on this road to seeing what the contractor needs. And we look at...
It's not just a price, it's not just about cutting. You know, we already have products called Pro Edge for putting half-ball nose or pencil edge on the edge of 20mm tiles.
Yeah.
And we've also got now a product that takes a bit more skill, an adjustable angle grinder for doing half-ball nose. It's a little bit more freehand.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you think about sort of, you know, it's costing, you know, it's going to be about 120 quid, 130 quid. But, you know, we've done some testing personally, and we think you can go up to about 40, 50 linear meters. And if you compare that to, you need to send it away to a stonemason, you know, it's a cost saving. And also the fact is that we all know that, say for example, you asked to have some ball nose tiles sent you personally from direct, and with lights and whites, there's always going to be a colour differentiation, and your customer's just going to moan about it.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got to be able to sort of pull the tools out the bag to be able to improvise and do the job when required, haven't we? And it shows our skill sets. And when we show our skill set, we can actually put the price up a little bit, can't we? Because we're valuing ourselves, then, aren't we?
Yeah, you guys offer a really quality service. You know, since COVID, everyone's really appreciated indoor, outdoor living.
Yeah. Yeah, massively.
And that's what it's about.
Yeah, massively. And yourself, you're actually working on your own garden, I believe, this weekend again. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Dave? Yeah,
well, I'm doing an outdoor kitchen, and I'm using 20mm porcelain tiles as my worktop. I've literally been cutting with a DCX 20 minutes ago, and I'm going to then do a Pro Edge. It's just, you know, although I'm not a landscaper, I love the tools, and I love to do a project.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how can I learn more without actually getting my hands dirty?
Yeah, and understanding it. And when you, absolutely, I love that, Dave. So you're using the tools that you sell, you believe in them, and you'll find out, you're learning on a daily basis about these products that you're actually producing. Dave, just behind me now, and you'll be familiar with it, I have the Slab Trans Mini suction cut lifter.
And that's a great product, John.
Yeah, while I get it, it's just behind me. While I'm just going to turn the camera just for a second, and so our viewers can see it. But do you want to just talk us through this product while I actually sort of handle it, if you pardon the expression? So here I have. I've got it all molded now, Dave. It's this it's a quality product, isn't it? So this slab transmitting, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, as you know, tiles are getting larger. People want less grout lines, and obviously tiles are getting heavier. At the end of the day, you've only got one back. So work with a friend, and rather than trying to lift things and breaking your fingers, and use the slab transmitting, and use the suction cups with the lifting bar, and bring a friend. You know, it makes the installation so much more easier. Works with simple suction cups, pumping them up with a sturdy bar, lift it, happy days.
Dave, do you know, I have to admit, it will spread up to like, is it nearly 6 feet or what? It's 4
Oh, I
or 5.
missed that, John, sorry.
Yeah, the reach of it is about 4 or 5 feet across, isn't it? When extended.
1.5 metres, John.
Sorry?
1.5 metres.
1.5 meters. That's incredible. Dave, the actual porcelain is getting larger. Larger format tiles seem to be a trend. We see those gardens in California. They're very impressive, and it's coming over here into Europe. We're using big units now. I mean, but to be honest, Dave, those 1.2s by 600, they're big enough. They're you know, to put them down as with one guy by yourself. And when you're my age, it makes things a little bit more difficult. But that is an absolutely incredible tool that you're actually producing. And is it something that Ruby are doing on a regular basis, Dave? They're actually looking at more tools all the time to produce for contractors.
Definitely.
Yeah, and
you know, it's safety products like the slab transmitting, normal suction cups, or it could be even, you know, blades, or like more developments for the TCX. You know, the Dutch are really hot on dust emissions, and that's why when you look at the TCX, it's got the brushes at the back to stop airborne particles.
Yeah. Yeah, Dave, tell us a little bit. I've lost the screen in a moment. Tell us a little bit more about what the Dutch do and why are they so hot on it?
Well, the Dutch are really ahead of us, I'm afraid to say, in regards to dust emissions and also carbon footprint.
Right.
As an example, now when they do any new builds, they have to consider all of the carbon footprint, and that includes where the contractor lives, what vehicle he drives. It's that type of thing, and so much so that a lot of tilers and landscapers in Holland are actually swapping to electric vehicles.
Right, okay.
Otherwise, they simply won't get the job otherwise.
Right, that's amazing. And Dave, on your saws now, apart from the water suppressant, tell us a little bit about the brush part of the saw, what that actually does.
Well, as you would imagine, there will be airbound particles that's got small amounts of dust in it. And what the brushes simply do is, as those catch those particles, you know, in the water,
yeah,
little droplets, and then it disperses them, and obviously then the dust then gets caught by the brushes and it goes back into the water tank, so it's not airborne, saving your lungs. All right,
so when the water, the bubble, it collects, so the water bubble collects the dust, but I believe that when it hits a surface, it breaks, the dust is released again, but what the brush does, it helps to direct it back down into the reservoir with the water, is that correct?
Exactly.
Right, okay. And when you're ticking these boxes all the time and thinking about it, just when you see these parts on these machines, it just goes to show what Ruby are doing as a company and what they're thinking about, how to make life easy. Because you know as well as I know that you talked about silicosis and the problems that it creates. People die as a result of it. So these machines are saving lives. Whatever we look at, however we look at it, it's saving people's lives, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You know, look at silicosis and other lung-related diseases like COPD. You know, we're all getting older, John.
Yeah, absolutely.
You might look like a spring chicken, but I'm 51.
Look,
we need to look after ourselves.
Spring chicken, I don't think so. Dave, with that little TC125, the other sort, and I should have got it out, and I haven't got it here at the moment, you can actually dry cut with that as well. You've got the little cap where you can put a vacuum on, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. We've got a new it's called the Ruby Clear, and it's a dust extraction system. Obviously, leading again from what the Dutch want. And
Right.
you can, like I say, you can dry cut it and connect the dust cutter extractor to it, so completely alleviate any dust.
Right, fantastic. And look, Dave, I could talk about this all day long, but I think we're going to have to call it a time now because there's a few other things that we actually want to talk about. And I really want to say thank you, and I really appreciate you being with us this morning. And would you be interested coming back on again at some time in the future, or can I come up and see you guys at Ruby and showcase some of your tools?
Definitely. And like I say, thank you for the opportunity to talk to you this morning, Tom.
No, listen, before you go, one more thing. When your outdoor kitchen is finished, I'd like you to actually send me a picture and I can share it with the viewers on my social media about what you've done. Would that be okay?
That'd be really kind of you. Thank you, John.
And
you'll be more than welcome to come round and share a sausage and a burger with me.
I'd love to share a sausage with you, Dave. But so before we go now, what's the first thing you actually going to cook? Is it going to be a sausage? Is that going to be the test, the acid test?
Yeah, I think a sausage first, John.
Yeah, Cumberland sausage.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, look, Dave, thanks very much. Get back to it. Really appreciate your time. Have a great weekend and see you soon. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Well, there you are. That was Dave, Mr. David Honeywell, MD of Ruby Tools UK. Absolutely great to have him on there. It speaks volume and the calibre of the guy wanting to come on. And we didn't want to come on. I asked him, and he said, "Yeah, we'd help out." He didn't put that to me. There was nothing sales orientated about that whatsoever. It was about showing you guys and girls that are out there that there are companies that really do value. They are thinking about these things all the time. They're not just producing product without any thought. They're going through that process. So great to have David on there. So really appreciate that, David. I hope that maybe some of the other Ruby companies representatives around the world actually watched this video, and you're showing us how to lead by example, Dave. That's basically what I was wanting to say. So thank you for doing that this morning. Look, it's like I said, it's been a really manic week for me this week. I was hoping to get another caller on this morning, a lady talking about a project that has gone wrong. The landscaper is disappeared, and then when she found out his other number, he wouldn't answer the phone, and that's not good at all. So my intention is to go up and see what's actually happened, do a vlog, and bring this story to you and tell you what's going up. And I think it's somewhere, it's down in Surrey. It is. I can't remember the name of the little village where she is, but she's been through absolutely hell. She's been through hell with the local authorities because it's very ambiguous about the information they are giving her, the engineers there, about what she should be doing about her paving. If it's too high, if she has to have a drain in there, whether that drain has to be connected, can it be connected to the combined system that is there, and I'm a bit confused about what they've said about putting an eco drain in front of the threshold of the door, but without connecting it to any drain system. So the water's just going to go into the eco drain, and they haven't said whether it's got to be connected to a drainage system in some way, whether if it's even a soak away. You see all too often on new developments, wheelchair access, they have the eco drain systems at the front, and they're not even connected to anything, all those little slimline drain systems. It's all a bit ambiguous, and everybody seems to sit on the fence about giving us the right and correct answers. They're very slow to come forward with the correct information. I'm so sorry that I haven't been able to read what people are saying this morning, but I will go back and have a look. Probably the most important thing about this live stream is actually to do the podcast and not necessarily always stop and listen and read all the questions out. But in future, we'll be able to have a screen where I'll be able to see what's going on, and I'll be able to read it out a little bit closer. We're not there yet, but we will sometime in the future. I've just realised that the light is there right in front of me. I'm just going to turn back around now, just before we go, but get back onto the Greentop Landscapes logo, and hopefully, there we are. I think you can see it now. Been interesting this morning, and it's always difficult for me because I am a landscaper. I am not a videographer. I am not an audio expert, but I'm trying to bring you the information as and when it happens. I've got a lot of things to do this week, lots of things happening. I'm going to be sharing that cleaning process of that porcelain and show you how I got it off. It's incredible to think that fairy liquid and some hot water remove that staining. We just couldn't even shift it. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on, and we'll see if we can get that lady, Jackie, to come on and talk about her project at some time. If not, I'm going to take a trip up there, spend a couple of hours there, listen to her story, go through everything with her, and I'll be able to showcase that to you, be able to find out and hear a little bit more about that. But without any further ado, it's been a good live stream. I really appreciate Mr. Honeywell coming on, but it is sunny. I want to get back out in the sunshine. I need to get it. Don't forget, mind, if you are working in the sun, keep yourself covered up. You think about the potentials of possibly, I'm going to say it, of getting skin cancer. Skin cancer is without doubt a big problem, and a lot of people get it. Builders and contractors across the country are suffering from this disease, this awful disease, and sometimes it's just from simple not putting some cream on, not hydrating, not putting a top on, keeping the skin covered. It's so important to keep the skin covered, and I do it now and again. I was so hot this week, I had to take my top off, and I should have done it, and I haven't burned, but you've got to just think about it. Make sure you hydrate, make sure you, if you take your top off, put a high factor product on, probably higher than what you actually think. That sun is blistering when it does come out, and it causes blisters. That's it. Have a great day, be safe, whatever you're doing, do it well all the time, and just remember, there is somebody that cares about you out there, and there are companies that care about you, and I care about you. So have a great weekend, see you next week, and don't forget, mind, send me some pictures on WhatsApp. The number is 07795 595 994. I want to see what you guys are doing. And Mr. John Ward, if you're watching this morning, brother, I never forget you. Take care. See you soon.